Director for World Food Program, Mr. Marcus Pryor, to help us understand what is on the ground with regard to the latest interventions. But why is this persistent? Why should we see such issues year in, year out? He will, of course, be giving us a perspective on that. Joining me too is Habib Serwaji. He's a member of the Equal Opportunities Commission. Now, this is supposed to ensure there is a level ground for each of us in the country to enjoy our basic human rights. Gentlemen, many thanks for joining us. You do so on the backdrop of a grim spectre: famine, starvation, insecurity that has bedeviled the Karamoja region and most parts of northeastern Uganda. First and foremost, Mr. Marcus Pryor, bring us up to speed with what the situation is on the ground right now.
Thank you, Chris, and good morning. I was in Karamoja recently for a week. I traveled north to south through the whole region, and the situation is bad. Our assessments, done together with government and other partners, indicate that since last year, 10% more people, now 40% of people in Karamoja, are acutely food insecure. And perhaps even more worrying, malnutrition levels have risen to the point where over 90,000 children are acutely malnourished, and nearly 10,000 pregnant and breastfeeding women are also acutely malnourished. So from our perspective, I'm happy to say that we have a broad presence across the region and have been delivering nutrition services consistently over recent years and months, but we are now scaling that up, and our scaled up distributions have started already in Moroto. They'll continue in several other of the worst affected districts of Karamoja through this difficult lean season period. But our concern remains that this is not just about the next 2 or 3 months, but we're talking about a more protracted and difficult extended period where people are really struggling to put food on the family table, and that this will go beyond our traditional lean season response.
Now, it's very convenient to blame the patterns that are inconsistent, especially when it comes to rainfall, because most of agriculture in the country is rain-fed. But this has been also playing out consistently, year in, year out, with agencies like the World Food Program being at the heart of interventions. Now, there are people who say that giving out food is simply something that is reactionary to what is happening, and there is need for a more consolidated effort to ensure food security is first and foremost assured, but most importantly maintained.
And I couldn't agree with you more, and I would say 2 specific things in that regard. Firstly, we need to get better at predicting what's coming down the line, particularly in terms of weather events. And the World Food Program is working with the Food and Agricultural Organization and the government to put in place an early warning system that allows us to see events coming down the line and put in place beyond that early actions that can help mitigate the impact of those weather events. We've already been in a situation where we have some of those triggers in place, but we need to invest more in that so that we don't just see trouble coming down the line, but we act as early as possible. And I think there's definitely room for improvement there. The other area I would point to is the need for investments beyond the provision of food assistance, like you say, to look at livelihoods, to look at diets, to look at food availability, to look at investing in local smallholder farmers. And this is work that WFP has been doing, but we really want to scale this. It's not just about the World Food Program. We need to work with other partners, and there are many other actors out there doing good work. But more needs to be done to make it sustainable and viable in the long term. Okay,
Mr. Habib Serwaji, I specifically ensured that Mr. Marcus Pryor give us the picture of how things are within the region, but most importantly, how we can go forward. The Equal Opportunities Commission, just like it sounds, you are fighting to ensure that every Ugandan has an equal opportunity to a good life, freedoms, but most importantly, enjoyment of basic rights. The right to food is basic for every human being on earth. For Ugandans, there seems to be a certain people that don't enjoy that right, and there seems to be very little effort to ensure that is rectified. What are you doing about that?
Thank you, Mr. Chris. The Equal Opportunities Commission is a constitutional body that was established by an act of parliament, and our mandate as an Equal Opportunities Commission is to eliminate marginalization, to eliminate inequalities, and we're looking at Karamoja now as a place where there is a food crisis. What the Equal Opportunities Commission has done, it has made several recommendations to government, and we've engaged so many technocrats from the OPM, from the Disaster Ministry, and we are happy that after several engagements, at least some food was taken to Karamoja, and we continue to engage because the situation is still not good for our people, and we want to see equality and see people live a good life. So the Equal Opportunities Commission is quite doing a lot in the background, and we hope that this crisis will soon be brought down.
Allow us get the works of the Opportunities Commission from the background and bring whatever interventions are being done or discussions you're having to improve the situation to the front. When it comes to the history of Karamoja, there has been consistent cries of the fact that whether it's government policy, rollout of interventions, not necessarily when the situation is like it is right now, for example, crisis, but even when everything is okay, there is a slow approach on the part of government to ensure that Karamoja is brought on board, whether it's the National Development Plan, whether it's strategic intervention. Have you discussed this issue within the Commission's confines?
Yeah, actually, Mr. Chris, we've done quite a lot in regards to the national policy, because the mandate of the Commission, part of the mandate is to monitor and evaluate policies, government programs, plans, so that they are in line with affirmative action. When bills are coming up, we review them, and we make sure that our people, the youth, the young people, the marginalized people, the women groups, the areas that have been left out are really given that part, so that they can be able to also be part of our national development plan. And we have reviewed quite a number of bills. So we've reviewed the mental health bill, the constitutional review bill, the biomedical technology and safety bill. There are so many bills that we've been reviewing to see that the content of the marginalized people, the 30%, if you've had it, for instance, we are in PDM, Parish Development Model, and we made recommendation that no, the youth must be involved, the women must be involved, the marginalized groups in regions must be given special attention. So all that, when we bring them up together, then at least we can put away the issue of inequalities. We are promoting affirmative action in order to see that Ugandans live a better life. And that's one of the other issue that we also brought out, recommended to government, that was in 2015, the issue of salary discrepancies. We want harmonization in salaries. And we are seeing that things are coming better. The government proposed a salary review commission. So we are trying to see that there is equality amongst Ugandans.
Okay, let's keep it to food security. Marcus Prayer, I don't want to debunk what Mr. Habib Serwaji is saying by asking you to take us through what particular frameworks have been adopted that you are collaborating on with either government or private sector players to roll out a comprehensive solution to this particular problem. You speak about early warning systems in light of climate change and everything that is going on. What ought to be done to ensure food security for the Ugandans?
Well, I think first of all it starts with knowing who the most vulnerable people are, and Mr. Serwaji just pointed out marginalized women, the youth. These are areas that we're looking at very closely. For example, we have an extensive school feeding program in Karamoja, helping to make sure that young Karamojan children are in school, getting an education, and are given that first step on the ladder to have a productive life in future. We're also investing very significantly in livelihoods. So targeting the most vulnerable communities, looking for those marginalized groups, again, especially women and the youth. I was in Amandat district recently, where we're working closely with a very dynamic group of young people who are making serious investments in beekeeping, for example. And we want to link them through their production to local markets and even national and regional markets, because these are the kinds of interventions that can be scaled. Another thing we're looking at is using schools as a platform for multiplying agricultural practices that can really bring improvements in diets by growing superfoods, if you like. So one particular product that we're looking at is the orange flesh sweet potato. It really has multiple nutritional benefits, and we're working with a number of schools across Karamoja to grow on quite significant scale, but so that the children in the school also learn about the advantages of including such nutritious foods in the family diet, take that home, and they are agents of change, if you like, so that we're not just looking about today, but we're investing in tomorrow in a really practical way.
Okay, Mr. Habib Serwaji, we are wrapping this up. I would love you to give us a bit of detail on what challenges you could be facing in addressing some of these aspects in the rollout of equal opportunities for just about every Ugandan, because we need to amplify the fact that either there is a disconnect somewhere that needs to be particularly dealt with. What do you think ought to be done to ensure there is a smooth rollout of policy interventions to ensure that there is no repeat of this in Karamoja, but most importantly, that the entire nation is food secure?
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Chris. I think this is about many partners. As Equal Opportunities Commission, we alone cannot really manage to bring down the food crisis in Karamoja.
That's right.
But working together with different partners like World Food Programme, government, we can always agree and come out with policies, everlasting policies that can help us to sort out the issue of Karamoja, and also to see that our people have live a life that is accustomed to all. Okay. So what I would suggest is that, you know, as government sometimes we lack resources, but when we have partners like World Food Programme, they normally come up and beef up, and in that way we can be able to have food security for all our people.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Habib Serwaji, ending our interview this morning on food security. What I do believe is that the interventions continue across board. We do hope this spectre can be reversed as soon as possible to ensure that there is no more death in Karamoja. That has been Habib Serwaji, a member of the Equal Opportunities Commission, as well as Mr. Marcus Pryor, Deputy Country Director of the World Food Programme. I must ensure that this goes as it usually does on every day. A happy birthday, Gift Katarihera. May you live to see more years of openness and light through your tenure, all from family and friends there. And of course, happy new age, as it's been described here. Godfrey Lugaju at Rainbow Magazine editor, that is at the Daily Monitor. Wishes from your wife, Molly, family, friends, and workmates Derek, Wandera, Isaac, David, Lawrence, age with grace. And as it always is, may the stars realign themselves so that your destiny can be assured. There you have it. I'm Chris Higenyi. It's been a pleasure having your company as always. It's been Morning at NTV. That's the hashtag on our socials. The conversation continues every day on there.